Thank you very much, Bill. And one of the most incredible lineups of touring cars, I think that it's been our pleasure to see, is now gracing the pit road of the Sandown circuit. It's the Hang Ten 400. There's Bob Morris there in the Ron Hodgson Motors Tirana hatchback. For the Marlborough Holden dealer team, we'll be having Peter Brock and Johnny Harvey. For the Ford dealer team, Alan Moffat and Colin Bond. Every name you can think of.
Terry Wade, John Myers in a Dolomite. Then car number 66, which we haven't been able to identify yet.
Well, plenty of butterflies out there now, Adrian.
One disappointed driver, incidentally, is Warwick Brown, Australia's Rothman Series champion and a runner in the Can-Am Series, who came out here all the way to drive the second Brian Bird Ford car, but through mechanical problems yesterday wasn't able to qualify.
Then Edwards Bride in the Mazda, Peter Grange's BMW, the Goff Brothers Holden Gemini, Bob Holden, Lyndon Bevelan Escort, Ian Shulman Mazda, Roger Cardwell Ian Mazda, Robert Dunfield, Wade, Kenneth Solomon,
Just a few seconds to go now for the Hang Ten 400 here at Sandown International Motor Racing Circuit. On the front row as the Prime Minister drops the flag, away they go. It's Peter Brock who gets away nicely, and Bob Morris who leads the field. Peter Brock back into third spot now as Alan Moffat squeezes him out as they come into Repco corner, but Brock gets back inside, and Brock is second as they come through, followed through by Alan Moffat. Then they come down with Gary Cook. It's John Harvey moving up into third position now, ahead of Alan Moffat. So it's Tirana's 1, 2, 3, then the big Ford of Moffat's, and then the rest of the field streaming out of Holden corner.
Fantastic display of enormous horsepower and skill driving of these drivers already as they're on their opening lap.
Peter Brock moves to the lead now over Bob Morris as they run for the first time over the top at Rothmans in this tremendous race, which of course is over 129 laps. Down through the S's for the first time. Peter Brock leads Bob Morris, then Alan Moffat, who's moved himself up ahead of Harvey now into third position. Harvey is fourth as they sweep down through these long, shallow S's. And the next one then would have been Gary Cook, and he's followed very closely by Colin Bond. Two races in one here as we've got the two Holdens battling it out for the lead. Bob Morris tucked in the slipstream. Alan Moffat holding off this tremendous attack by John Harvey. Brock keeps Morris out. Morris hops across to the inside. Bumper-to-bumper motor racing with 128 laps to go. 1 minute 13 seconds. 1 minute 13.3 seconds. 13.3 seconds for that opening second lap for Peter Brock. So Peter Brock is really starting to put the fast laps in right early in the piece. He's going to try and break up the opposition. Peter Brock is one of the masters of long-distance racing in Australia. He's the only driver to win the Big Three, Hang Ten 400, the Hardy Ferodo at Bathurst, and of course the big 500-kilometre race at Phillip Island. And no other driver has ever been able to equal that. He did that 3 years ago in the Tirana, and now he's hoping to repeat it again. A little bit of smoke out of the back of Colin Bond's car there as he's being chased by Alan Grice. Grice pushing him very, very hard as they run in 5th and 6th positions at the moment. A great heap of motor cars led by Garth Wixton behind them as they sweep down, and there's Grice coming up on the inside and bouncing over the concrete to try and see if he can catch the leaders or at least pass Colin Bond. The big Ford Falcons, very easily identified in white there, two big blue stripes across them. There's a move now as Dick Johnson moves out on Garth Wixton, and Wayne Nagus at the back, and there's Gary Rogers coming through on the inside, and they touch as they come through, but Gary Rogers sweeps underneath and is able to get through, and Wayne Nagus on his right-hand side just trying to squeeze him out too. But it's Brian Bird and the big Ford. There's the two cars of the Phillips team coming in very closely and almost put each other out of the race at Holden corner. And in car number 12, we have Gary Rogers.
Gary Rogers got himself a bit of a don't argue there too as he came into Holden corner, leading the other two cars, but they both carved him up and left him gasping for breath behind.
They're very quick down through those S's. It's the first time I've seen Peter Brock bounce his wheels over the inside, and look at Alan Grice with one wheel about 6 to 8 inches in the air as he threw it down through the S's, chasing after Colin Bond. And he knows he's got to keep going because right behind him is that big blue Ford from Queensland with Dick Johnson at the wheel.
And Johnson, one of the most forceful drivers in Australia, if he gets himself any kind of a chance to
like a 10-lap sprint at the moment, as these drivers are really pushing their cars almost to the limit. Down the long straight they come in front of the grandstand. And there's they're lapping some of the slower cars already, and there's Harvey pulling out again, Gricey at least, pulling out on Colin Bond, and Grice moves up into 5th position ahead of Colin Bond, now in 6th spot. So Colin Bond has to look at the back of Alan Grice's Tirana as they sweep up pit straight towards Holden Corner. Oh, and there's Gary Rogers, a big spin at Ripco Corner. Not a very nice place to be either. He's in a very dangerous position right on the apex of the corner, and the crash crews out there, the marshals all ready with him, going to try and help him to do a U-turn to get back into the race again. Bad luck for him. He was well up in the race there, but that will put him right back out of contention for the present time.
He hit the curb too, and it's a wonder that he hasn't punctured a tyre or bent a wheel. Oh, he's lost the exhaust pipe. The part of the exhaust system has come adrift from Gary Rogers' car. Right, Colin Bond backing up his teammate Alan Moffat. He's back there in 6th place at the present time, while the battle rages on out in front with Peter Brock and Bob Morris. But Colin Bond, a very, very heady driver. He's not at all concerned that he's not right up there mixing it with the very leading cars, because it's a long, long way to go and anything can happen. Peter Brock giving a wave there, of course, to signal to the car in front that he's aiming on coming through. A little bit hard sometimes for the drivers of the slower cars to tell just how fast a car is coming up behind them or who it might be. So a bit of a wave from the overtaking drivers is quite a good signal.
John Harvey is doing very well. I think it's the best run we've seen from John. Well, not quite the best for this year, because he was going very well at one of the earlier races at Oran Park this year before he ran out of petrol, which was a very unfortunate thing for him. That didn't deter him. He got some petrol, got back into the car, and then won the race.
That's right.
But he's up there in 3rd position, and that's, judging from the touring car rounds, his best position of this year. He's doing extremely well as a backup to Peter Brock, who's out in front. And although he's tossing him a little bit wide on the corners, he's nevertheless keeping Bob Morris in sight, and of course providing a buffer between the leading two Tiranas. And oh, there's bad luck for one of the Ryan Wood Ford cars. There's number 69, which of course would be Rod Stevens.
Yep.
And that's very bad luck for him. He's hit the Armco fencing fairly badly. It looks as though he's spun coming out of Ripco Corner at this stage, and he's right over against the fence. And of course the car will have to be moved, because it's not a good spot. There's a locking brake from Gary Cook in car number 11, the Tirana. And in fact, it's more than a locking brake. That smoke is coming from underneath the car, and that's an ominous sign that it looks as though Gary Cook's race is run. And from 3rd position on the grid, he's now going to pull up and watch it from the sidelines.
Well, at 10 laps with 12 minutes and 27 seconds of racing gone, we have Brock in 1st place, Bob Morris in 2nd place, and John Harvey in 3rd place, all in Tiranas, followed by Alan Moffat, the first of the Fords, Alan Grice, and of course Moffat's teammate Colin Bond in 6th place. Back to you, Adrian Ryan.
And the BMW coming down there, moving through, followed by Keogh in one of the big Fords, and then the Taylor Kennedy car. And here with Bob Morris diving out of that slipstream to try and take over from Peter Brock at Ripco Corner. But Peter Brock in the Marlborough car, .05. He uses the number 05, of course, because of his association with the Road Safety and Traffic Authority in Victoria, which uses the slogan "Turn off before .05", indicating the amount of blood alcohol level that you're allowed in Victoria before you can be fined. And Peter Brock has been a great performer for the Road Safety and Traffic Authority, lecturing to young drivers all over Victoria on the evils of drink and the way to drive properly. And he's being hounded, and that's about the only word you can say, is really hounded by Bob Morris, who is very clean down through the S's, not ragged at all. Bob Morris, the car handling beautifully on its lower profile tyres. He uses a slightly lower profile tyre than Peter Brock's car, and he says that this gives him a great advantage. And he has, if we can get a very close-up view, perhaps at Holden Corner, he has a very interesting development on the outside of the wheels. He has a fiberglass scoop built onto the outside of the wheels, and this actually extracts the air from the brakes and helps to cool them down. So we may try and see if we can get a very close-up in view as he goes around on the outside, then right down on the inside. He's pushing Peter Brock as hard as he can go, comes up on the inside now, and he's really going to try and outbrake Brock, but there's no way. Yes, he does. He goes straight through on the inside.
Well,
a desperate move, but he's made it. He's got through onto the inside, and Morris now leads the race.